Hey, Focus fam, happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are doing well this week. It's Chan Man. As always, guys, let's dive right in, take a look at Mama Market, and I'm going to lay out a few setups that I think are worth watching. But market is at a very critical point. And just to dive right in here, guys, one big thing that I've been focusing on a lot this year, and you've probably heard the spiel, is this daily cloud. And for the first time, this year, we're kind of sticking our nose underneath it. And you can see ever since we've, kind of broken this cloud for the first time, we held it last week, and this truly is the first time we've been under all year. We've gotten very indecisive. So I think the market truly is at a very, pivotal point, waiting to kind of decide what happens next. And as traders, it's a really good time to, check our bias and make sure we're not, too bullish, too bearish, more so just prepared. So if we take a look, guys, at some, good key levels here, we had a really nice zone starting to form with our low here from earlier in the week. So if we take a look, just a zone that I want to focus on is this prior drop zone with that current little hold. As long as we hold here, guys, right? Upside is obviously a little bit favored for now. We've spent the past few days, if we just dive in here, right? Going from the bottom, from the top to the bottom, back to the top, bottom, closing here up at the top. So we truly are just playing ping pong, trying to decide what happens next. And with ping pong, gives us a little bit of a squeeze to work with. So if we take a look, guys, really strong close here, closing at the highs here on Wednesday. And we have a really nice 4-hour squeeze starting to form. Not super, super tight, but we're definitely starting to give us something to work with. The biggest level I want to focus on here, guys, is this 4389-ish. You can just call it 4400. Pretty much where we dropped last time. We based, put in, this little trend, and then we dumped it. And then again, we bounced right back up to that consolidation, and we dumped it. Bounce back up, dump, bounce back up. So if we just kind of duplicate the zone and, put it where we are today, ooh, you guys can see it kind of captures that entire, supply and demand above and below. So really want to be patient because again, I think the market's at very pivotal levels. And there's two ways to approach it, guys. Me personally as a day trader, going from here to there, to there, to there, to there is massive opportunity, right? A lot of money to be made playing these ranges. So I want to continue to see, if we continue to fail here and roll over hard, we could go right back down to where we were. And again, if we get there, we might bounce right back. I don't know. I don't care. But very specific supply and demand right now. However, guys, one thing to remember is when the market drops hard, a lot of shorts kind of come out of the woodworks, and we could start to squeeze them a little bit if we do start to pop. So I really want to keep an eye on this 4-hour squeeze and kind of on, again, this, call it 4,400 level, where if we could start to pop through that, we should have a good push back up to that last little range that we stopped at, just to add a key level here for conversation's sake, call it 4472, call it 4,500. We're dealing with every, 100 points here. We hold this little 4,300 range, we could pop back to 4,400. Through 4,400, we can go see that 4,500. If we hop back to the daily chart, guys, for the upside, we need to focus on getting that reversion to the mean, which right now is pretty much that 4,400. So again, we could pop out this little consolidation and work our way up to it. But just like last time, guys, whenever the market is in kind of a bearish trend, which is trending down right now for the last few weeks, any pop back to the mean, just like right here, we want to be ready to potentially short it, right? Pop back to the mean and completely dumps. After it dumps, it popped all the way back to the mean and then gets shorted again. So both of these opportunities, guys, can be played. We just have to make sure that, again, we check ourselves when we arrive at the next location. So if we do start to pop here and fire that squeeze, going to be looking for that reversion to the mean, that 4,400. And then if we can start to break through there, we'll see if we can head right back up towards, that 4425, 4450 range, which gets you back to the 50. And then again, maybe to the top of this range. But the market, guys, is in a very pivotal spot. And if it does start to break below these key levels here, so again, give you something to work with, 4260 and 4224, I think we're going to start to dive towards the 200. Right, market's doing a really good job of holding here. So if it does crumble, I think we're going to continue to panic. And that 200-day simple just kind of becomes the next line in the sand. Obviously, watch psychological levels like 4,200, but I think the 200 will come next if we do start to melt down here. So again, guys, we could pop back to the mean and then completely get destroyed and head right back down. Maybe we don't even get to the mean and we just continue to fail at the zone that we failed at. Maybe we, head back down and bounce again. A few scenarios, those are the, only things that are possible. A few levels I want to add in here, guys, are the following. And don't mind this drawing set getting a little bit messy here, but just dial in on these point of control levels, 44.27, 43.16, and that 43.56 and a half. And I'm just going to write these down real quick so we can add them to our other chart. 43.56 and a half. All right. So again, guys, 42.77, 43.16. Let's go add those to our chart that we've been working on. And I just want to talk about this real quick. So again, we got 42.77. I like to make point of control this green color. We can duplicate that. We also have that 43.16. And then because we're in a new month, guys, we want to focus on the last month's point of control, which is that definitely last but not least, that 43.56 and a half. And I always like to make this one a dashed just so I know the difference. So again, guys, with point of control, you've probably heard this from me before, but this does a really awesome job of kind of tracking liquidity. And you can see, let me get rid of this, just talk about these levels. These are the levels that I'm using right now in point of control, and they really have been, the slingshot levels, where very simply, that's where we're going to if you get rid of everything else. We took that time to kind of chop here on that last point of control, right? Had that little uptrend, and then we broke down hard. We dropped at 43.16, melted to the next one, popped back to 43.16, fell right back to 42.77, right back to 43.16, to the next point of control, drops back down, tries to head back, dumps again to 42.77. We hold it, we pop back, we rip through it, we stop at it, we fall to the next one, we fall to the next one and hold, we pop to this one today, we squeeze, 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 flag, 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 and then we rip, guys, from POC to POC, literally almost to the cent here. Very amazing and clean levels. And so I want you guys to add these levels to your chart along with, the thesis that we kind of laid out here, because these are the levels that are going to be in play if we keep going back and forth inside of this zone. So this is what I mean, guys, by if we go in back and forth in here, still a lot of opportunity. Buy low, lock some at POC, play through POC to here, short it through POC down to the other one. So much opportunity here if you're a day trader like myself. So again, if we fail here, guys, we can head back to 43.16. If we fail at 43.16, we can go to 42.77. It's just been the path. And again, if we break the zone, it can get ugly. We can fire that 4-hour squeeze, looking to get down towards the 200-day simple moving average, right? So again, just to throw in the 200, that's right around here. Let me just throw that on there for our conversation. Boom, 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 boom. There you have it. So again, guys, just to wrap up here, inside this range is fine. Focus on the tops and the bottoms, the supply and the demand, and then focus on the point of control levels, which are going to map out your liquidity, AKA where it's going to go. Play it off those. If we break out of this range, we get a nice pop possible. Want to look to get back to that 44.72 and want to look to get back to the daily mean, which is top of the zone. And then you guys can also throw in the 50-day simple here, right? Just to grab something. Throw in that 50-day as another good target. So we got the daily mean up here. We can get back to, explode through it, get the 50, and go get the next zone. And if you guys follow my charting and follow my zones, you want the zones to be very similar in size. And if we duplicate it, yet again, we get a beautiful zone that fits there. So remember, guys, we drew these levels in advance. And the great thing about supply and demand, if you know how to spot it, is it's going to be similar size. So again, we have, that top zone here. We have that zone right here. Looks really good. So those are the levels, guys, that I would focus on. And again, throw in the point of controls and let's see what happens. But love the squeeze, love the levels in play, love how we can just go from zone to zone to zone to zone. Keep trading it until something fun happens. But that's my thoughts, guys. That's the only way I'm seeing the market right now. Let it squeeze. If we can keep playing these ranges, great. Once we break out through here, we can head to here. If we fail here, we can head right back down to here. Once we leave there, we got the 200 on the way. Hope that makes sense, guys. I want to take a good look at VIX because it's kind of coiling up here, just like the market, to make up its next mind, make up its mind and, decide the next move. Now, I want to very simply, guys, watch level 25 on VIX and watch 20. For as long as we hold 20, all of these pops are kind of shortable. Again, just like we talked about, every time we're up here, guys, VIX stays above 20 and it rolls right back over, right? VIX goes back, we roll right back over as long as VIX keeps holding 20. So simple, guys, if the 4-hour squeeze fires to the upside, we're going to need VIX to break below 20. And if it actually breaks below 20, we're going to get that continuation out of that range that we've been stuck in. And that's when we're going to go get that 4,400. When we go and get 4,400, VIX is most likely going to be going to that 18 level where it stopped last time. And that's exactly where we can stop. But if VIX breaks 18 and starts to head back to 16, well, that's when we're going to be breaking and continuing to the next journey. So hope that makes sense, guys. VIX has been freaking awesome these past few, weeks, past few months. And again, it's just kind of keeping us in check. Where as long as we're above 20, every pop you need to be, a little skeptical of. Market's still vulnerable. As soon as we go below 20, we get a little momentum. But 18 is that next trigger point. If we get through 25, guys, we're going to scream like we did last time. But we got quickly below 25. We've been sitting here waiting. Let's see what happens, my friends. But I love how the market's setting up. So that being said, I want to spend most of my time, guys, focusing on the market and trading the market. If we take a glance at, the other indexes, kind of all the same thesis, guys. We're trying to pop back pretty hard. And right now, tech is trying its best to lead. There's a lot of good pops today in tech. Roku led the way strong. Video is strong. There was some good setups today in technology. So if we can continue to see tech, move and groove, just like ES, guys, we want to look to get back to that mean. Still rejecting this resistance. If we can get through that, we got a good pop ahead of us. As always, guys, follow all the markets, watch for rotation, and see who leads. But I want to spend most of my time trading and watching ES and SPX because these zones have been great. But other than that, I want to keep an eye on Google. This is set up today, guys, that really told you the market could bottom. It popped hard open, it pulled back, and then it started to pop way before everything else popped. And it really kind of, is taking the reins here. If you look at Google on a daily chart, this thing is giving an incredible pullback, one to this daily cloud. Take a look, guys. We don't spend much time below daily cloud on Google. Very, very strong. We got to our beginning of the year here, and we exploded off of it. We squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. We hit the cloud. We explode off of it. Last week, we pretty much, to the cent, saved Google from going below this cloud. And it's been a nice little recovery ever since. The great thing, guys, about this level right here is if we take a look at a weekly chart, that's also a weekly reversion to the mean, which, again, for Google hasn't happened in a long time. This entire year hasn't even touched the weekly mean. So it's a very healthy pullback for one of the strongest tech stocks in the entire market. Had one of the best years this year. It looks like it's bouncing back pretty strong. So if we hop in, guys, and look at my drawing set here, I want to be prepared if the market starts to push, especially tech trying to lead the ropes. I want to be ready for Google to continue to work higher. One thing I love about point of control is it tells you a lot about the stock, guys, and a lot about who's controlling it. And point of control on Google this month is starting up above at 2730-ish, just calling it 2731. And even when it took this drop down to 2621, that weekly mean, point of control remained up here. So it quickly exploded back. A little pullback this morning and quickly back to POC and closing through it. Very, very strong. So if we take a look here, guys, we got the 50 simple up here around 2783, and we have the daily mean pretty much coming down to reach price. So here's what I want to focus on for Google for tomorrow, or just the rest of the week. Again, guys, we need technology to move and groove. Just that simple. But if we get a pullback to the zone, let me get my right tool out. If you get a pullback here and hold, right? If we pull back and break, this doesn't matter. But if we could continue to hold, guys, this 2730-ish zone, aka point of control, want to look for a dip buy and a pop the rest of this week, back up towards that 2800. We have last month's point of control at 2774. So that's going to be my first, my first target. And then through that, guys, we got the 50-day simple, which I'm using as this gap down level. And then we have 2800. Really good levels here. So again, we'll see if we get a pullback here. There's always going to be a good entry. And then a pop to 2800 this week. Google has a 56-point ATR. So just doing a little bit of basic math, we're only about 50 points away from 2800. So it's only Wednesday. We're heading into Thursday and Friday. I like 2800 as a target on Google, as long as it can hold this key zone here. Take a look at the option chart, guys. Very simply, want to focus on the 2800 calls. They have a lot of good volume. They're at a good price point. They offer a good risk reward, especially if you can get a nice little dip buy. They're going to be even cheaper, and they're going to offer some good opportunity. Other than that, guys, a few other strikes you can watch, 2790s. Those have decent liquidity. And if for some reason, we make a good pullback here, 2POC, 2730. The 2770s are going to be a nice strike as well. If those get around $3 or $4, those can really, really pop and move and groove if Google gets this target. So again, guys, the 2800s and the 2770s are kind of where I'd spend most of my attention. You can also consider the 80s and the 90s, but those two are my favorite strikes. Good liquidity, good risk reward. I was just looking for a pullback to see, where these strikes end up landing. But again, if these push to 2800, everything is going to make a really good return. And that's my thoughts on Google. Let's see, guys, another setup that I want to keep an eye on is Moderna. So I had a really good thesis coming into today where this one kind of was finally giving us a squeeze. This thing's in complete breakdown mode. Break down hard, squeeze, 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 break down hard, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Starting to flush again. This one, guys, really, turned the corner recently when it broke this beautiful little uptrend that it had, gapped inside a daily cloud, gapped to the bottom of cloud, closed underneath it, down she goes. The only benefit here, guys, or what I was looking for in Moderna was it did stop at the weekly mean. But like I looked for today, if it stayed below the weekly mean, it's got more to go. And you can see, guys, it kind of opened today, popped back to that weekly mean, failed hard, put in a beautiful wedge. Just get rid of the squeeze here because you can see this better. All right, nice gap down, pop back to the mean, drops to low a day, wedge, 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 gives out, consolidates at low a day, and then bleeds to 300. So really awesome chart here, guys. I have 307 as a target and obviously 300 as a psyche level. They took it out. So this thing really is falling off a cliff here, and I don't want to be the one to get in front of it. So I want to see if it continues to bleed. If you take a look at the weekly chart, there's not much, below. We really melted up here. And so if it does continue to sell off, I would not be shocked, guys, to see this 271 on Moderna. But for tomorrow, again, leaning a little bit bearish just because it's in complete breakdown mode. Not going to guess a bottom. If it does bottom for a few days, then I'll consider looking for upside. But here's what to watch, guys. Had a 307 level that it stopped at on Monday, rally back up, big fail today. Closed underneath it and right at 300. See if it can hold 300, pop back to 307 and fail. That'd be a really good entry for a short back down to 300. And if it breaks it, I'm going to be looking for 392 as kind of my final target for the week. However, guys, if the market gets ugly and there's a little more weight into Moderna, if it does break 392, I think it could fall off another cliff here to 271. All right, just looking at the daily chart here, you kind of lose, some support as we get near here, and it's really sitting below. So I'd like to see, guys, if it does, take out that 300 and head to 270. I know it's an extreme drop and it's been down a lot, but what goes up must come down, stairs up, elevator down. So that's what I'll be watching, guys. Again, ideally want to look for a pop here to then short it. If it fails at 307, that's a really good entry. And then we'll see what happens with 300. If 300 gives, I see 292. Has about a 26-point ATR, dropped out 29 points today. So just assuming that it puts in another ATR of 26 points. You guys can see that 271 is not that far away, about 30 points. If it gets ugly, 270 is possible, but I would be, a little more conservative and focus on 292. So for options, guys, these are getting pricey because we've been bleeding for days. So again, I want to look for a pop here. But if we pop to, 307, consider anything from, 300 to the 290s, right? I wouldn't go to 270s. Those are a little too, vulnerable end of week. But anything as in that 280 range, 290 range is something I would consider to the downside. And again, personally for upside, I'd be a little bit patient. So that's my thoughts, guys. Just a few setups I wanted to cover, but mainly focusing on attacking the market. If the market rips, most things are going to rip. If the market drops, most things are going to drop. So thanks as always, guys, for watching and listening. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you enjoy my thoughts, guys, you can sign up for a newsletter to get a little more exclusive content, if that makes more sense. But thanks as always, guys. Enjoy. Go kill the rest of the week. I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, Focus Chan here with Simpler Trading. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss anything that we do. And if you want to see us trade our money live in real time, go to simplertrading.com and you can sign up for more. But happy trading, guys. Stay focused. I'll talk to you in the next video.